As a young man, your health is one of the most important, if not the most important aspect of life to focus on. And after spending countless hours watching podcasts and listening to books like Outlive, Why We Sleep, I figured out that there are only a few things you need to be healthy, and I'm going to break them down exactly in this video so that you can live a healthy, long life. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is that prevention is better than recovery. Most people will say that, oh, you don't need to focus on health when you're younger because it's all good, you're young, and then once you get older, you can start to focus on that. But if you prevent health problems from happening in the future, or at least cause them to be prolonged, that's better than having to recover from them in the future. So you need to get the mindset of, oh, it's okay, I'm young, so my health doesn't matter. I can eat the sugary foods and stuff because I'll burn it off and all of that, out of your mind, because health is important when you're young because it will help you prevent problems instead of having to recover from them in the future. Now, with that in mind, one of the biggest determinations of how healthy you are and how long you'll live is something called your VO2 max. Now, your VO2 max, simply put, is the amount of oxygen you can absorb and the amount of oxygen you use when you're physically active, when you're expending energy. So if you think of the red line on your car, that is pretty much the same as your VO2 max. The red line on your car is like the part where, I mean, like I'm sure most of you know this, but like it's the part where the car can't like go faster than that. You know, like if it hits the red line, that's when it starts going like That's the same with you. That's your VO2 max. Your VO2 max is that red line. The farther apart that red line is, the longer you'll live. So how can we extend VO2 max? The first easiest way is to stop skipping cardio, bro. Most people in the fitness community, me being one of included, I'll blame myself for this one. There's a common belief that doing cardio will ruin your gains. You know, you hear from all these like big people, cardio is ruining your gains because, you know, if you're trying to bulk, then you'll burn the calories and then you'll be wasting your time trying to bulk doing this. But in reality, you don't need to be doing the type of cardio, and we'll talk about this, but there's certain types of cardio. The fuck is going on up there? So there's certain types of cardio, and the types you've probably heard of are when people say like, oh, like zone 5 cardio, that's where you burn the most fat, zone 4, all this stuff. But we're not gonna be doing cardio that is that hard. What we're gonna be doing is something called zone 2 cardio. And this is something Dr. Peter Attia recommends a lot.
The key for building a high VO2 max is saying, I'm going to spend about 80% of my aerobic training time in zone 2.
And this is something I've been doing, and I found that overall your life starts to be better. Even little aspects like your productivity will start to increase when you do this cardio because your VO2 max will increase. So zone 2 cardio, the simplest way to break this down, is the type of cardio that you do where you could nasal breathe. You're not like that's past that. That's a harder type of cardio. But zone 2 is where you could go like you should still be able to nasal breathe when you're doing it, and you should also be able to hold a conversation. So say I'm going for a zone 2 run. I'm gonna be like this. Yeah, man, but you know, this thing happened today and you need to like, that's how you'd be talking, but you could still do that. You know, when you're training really hard, you ever found that you're like, I couldn't even talk, hold on bro, give me a second. That's past that. So keep this in mind when you're doing your cardio, and if you could hold a conversation, but like hold a conversation out of breath, and then also breathe through your nose while doing the exercise, you're probably in zone 2. Now this zone 2 cardio can be biking, running, swimming, doing a little skipping session, and ideally, depending on your age, you should be doing this for 30 minutes to 1 hour a few times per week. So if you're 15 like me, I personally try and aim to get this 4 or 5 times a week. Like I try and get a lot of cardio in, but as we mentioned, this doesn't affect my gains. Like, bro, my gains are still good. I'm still fucking jacked, man. Because this cardio isn't the type that's really gonna burn off a lot of fat. Yeah, it might burn a little bit, you're doing cardio, but like, it's not a big deal, man. This is important for your health. So later in the video, obviously, I'm gonna break down diet and all of that stuff, but it starts with your VO2 max. It starts with your heart health. Now, the next big thing you need when it comes to health is strength. Drop down and do 10 push-ups. If you can't do that, then that probably means that you're pretty weak, which is okay, but we need to work on that. Now, in a study, it was showing that people who had, I mean, this study's on older people, obviously, but you can kind of, take it and apply it to younger people as well, that the weaker their grip strength was and the weaker their overall strength was, the shorter they lived. Now, I don't know the exact research on this, but just think about this. Falling kills what? 1 million, like it kills somewhere close to like 1 million people a year just falling. Like just when you when you like fall, you trip on something and you fall, that kills people. Like a lot of people die from that every year. And I think, okay, yeah, that's probably one reason, but another reason is that strength hypertrophy, getting blood flow to your muscles and everything, probably just overall. And I mean, think of this too, you don't want to live to 100 and have knee problems, back problems, hip problems like most people do, right? You want to live to 80, 100 and have a long life, and also be able to play tennis, go kayaking with your grandchildren or something. You want to be able to do the stuff that you enjoy doing. You want to be able to do the stuff that you find fun. You don't want to be sat there on the couch being like, oh, my knees, my hips, my back. So having good strength isn't even just for like health and everything. It's even for just having a better life in general. Having stronger, quads will make your knees stronger. Having stronger hips will make your back stronger. Shoulders, all of that stuff will make it stronger, meaning that you'll be less likely to get injured. Now let's actually get to the diet stuff. What type of foods should you be eating? What time should you be eating them at to be healthy? Number one, obviously, you guys all knew it was coming. Stop eating sugar. So there's this girl named Jessie I'm not even gonna try the last name. I'll pull it up on screen. Jessie, it's a French name or something. But I was listening to a podcast by her, and she's like the glucose lady. She talks about glucose, insulin, and she was saying how most people have the wrong idea that like sugar, even from like fruit and stuff, like people don't realize fruit has, sugar in it and stuff, will spike your glucose. And the higher your glucose is, the shorter you'll actually in turn live. And sugar is also linked to type 2, maybe type 1 diabetes. I don't know too much about that, but I know it's linked to type 2 diabetes, which is also called insulin resistance, which is something that kills a lot of people every year. But if you think of most young men's diet, there's very little protein, there's very little fiber. It mostly consists of things like Coca-Cola, candy, all that shit that's like really, really bad for you. And most people go like, oh no, it's fine. Like you're 12 years old, you're 13 years old, you still got so much time ahead of you. Why even focus on health? But you need to focus on health because think about this. The things you do now have more of an impact than you think. If you're eating sugar right now, you're not working out right now, your strength is low right now, do you think you're just gonna wake up when you're 20 years old or when you're classified as an adult and then just have all these things? No, you'll still have the same problems that you have now. Like, bro, right now you can't even do 10 push-ups, you probably won't be able to do 10 push-ups when you're 20. You're not just gonna grow fucking muscle from not doing anything. Maybe if you worked like a construction job, you'd start to build muscle, then yeah, maybe when you're older, you'd be able to do it. But for the most part, the actions you do now will have consequences in the future or will have benefits in the future, depending on if you're doing good things or bad things. So with that in mind, you shouldn't be eating sugary food. You should have more protein, and especially in the morning. This is like, bro, my diet used to just be like cereal every morning, and this is why I was overweight, and I'll like pull up a photo of what I looked like. But stop eating the sugary fucking cereals every morning. You need to have high protein, high fiber, just getting the micronutrients. You need those things, especially as a young man. If you want to grow, you want to look more mature, and like I talk about this a lot. If you want to look older, like I'm 15, and I would say, most people say this, I don't really necessarily look like a 15-year-old. I'm like 6 foot something, whatever. And one of the main reasons I'm so tall, because I didn't always look like this, as you've seen the photo before, is because I switched my diet from cereal every morning to meat, broccoli, like the type of shit your parents tell you to eat when you're younger, but you're like, nah, it's fine, I'm young, so like it doesn't actually matter. But it does actually matter. So stop eating sugar, eat more protein, eat more fiber, and you'll probably be good. You don't need to focus too much on the macronutrients. Oh my god, do I need this much vitamin D today? And those things are important and they're good, and if you want to do that, you can. But for the most part, eat more protein, eat less sugar, and your diet should be good. Now finally, I want to touch on sleep and its effects on your overall health. Now, you might have heard from like most of the grind set, productivity YouTubers, maybe not nowadays, but about a year or two ago, were saying like, if you want to be productive, fuck sleep. Like you see Grant Cardone, and this guy's got bags under his eyes, and like, yeah, he makes a lot of money, and it's probably because he stays up the late nights, he's working hard and everything, which is fine occasionally, and it's nice to stay up late, work hard, and that's good. That means you have something that you want to work hard on. But it actually is doing you the opposite, because you're going to get the success you want, but then you'll have the downside of the health problems. So obviously it's a trade-off, but at the same time, it's not really, because sleep has been linked to productivity. And like most people know this nowadays, you get a good night's sleep and you'll wake up being more productive. I slept for 10 hours last night. Like it's like midday. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling sick because I got 10 hours of sleep. I'm not tired. I'm not feeling like, oh man, I don't want to film this video. I'm happy as hell to film this video because I just love doing this stuff. Getting more sleep will make you more productive. You don't need to think that staying up doing work or, probably staying up playing video games, which is even worse. But just think about it. The more you sleep, the more productive you'll be. And the better your health will be, because the better your recovery will be. And the better your recovery is, the more you'll grow and the more strong you'll be. And it kind of links into them all. The more food you'll digest properly, your organs will have more energy. Like just overall, every little thing you need can kind of be tied back to sleep, because sleep is one of the most important, if not the most important aspect of health to focus on. So if you could take one thing from this whole video, you're like, all right, sugar, all that stuff, I don't really want to give up the foods I like. Get more sleep. If you're younger, you want to get 9 to 10 hours. It seems like a lot, but you want to get 9 to 10 hours of sleep. I told you this was going to be a no BS, like in-depth guide, and you're probably sleeping like shit. So we can pretty much assume if you're getting less than 8 hours of sleep as a young man, your health and your productivity will both be decreased. And finally, I'm gonna give you a quick little tip. I can't say because I'm not like 80 years old telling you how to live longer, but what Dr. Peter Attia says, if you wanna live a longer life, is get your tests on time. When you gotta like go to the doctor for a checkup, they gotta check on your heart, do all the MRIs and shit. Like I don't really know what exactly it is that they do, but when you gotta go in for those checkups, go in for them. So when you hit this is just something to keep in mind. When you hit 40, 50, 60, and you start getting into the range of, people who have cancer, people who have atherosclerosis, heart disease, all this stuff, start getting your tests. Don't be like these people that are like, oh, well, I'm healthy and I eat the right food, so I'm not gonna go get tested. No, bro, go get a CT angiogram, go get your heart scan, check for calcium, do all this stuff. Do these things and get your proper checkups on time. Don't put them off. So overall, if you wanna live a healthier, longer life, you need to, number one, start doing more zone 2 cardio to increase your VO2 max. And we said this is just the type of cardio where you can still nasal breathe and you can still have a conversation, but it's a conversation where you'd be panting. So keep that in mind when you're doing your cardio. Then number 2, increase your strength. So if you're in the range of 12 to 16 years old, you should be able to do 10 push-ups. There's no excuse for you not to be able to get down and bump out 10 push-ups like it's nothing. Like it shouldn't be hard for you to do 10 push-ups. If it is hard for you, that's fine. Just work on your strength because it will come in handy later in life. And then number 3, eat less sugar and eat more protein and vegetables. Yeah, it sounds like the advice your parents give you, to eat your vegetables, come on. You're like, no, I don't want to eat them. Eat those. When your parents tell you eat vegetables, be like, yeah, I'll take 2 servings of vegetables, because you need vegetables, you need the microvitamins, you need protein, you need these things, and that will make you overall healthier. Now, finally, 4 is sleep better for longer. That's it. That's simply it. And if you want to know, exactly how to get your sleep better and everything, I'll link a video I made, which is like the 3 unconventional steps to fix your sleep schedule that really work. So go check that out if you suffer with like sleep problems. But overall, just doing these 4 simple steps will make your health so much better. These 4 things are really easy, but they take effort, and that's why most people don't do them. But I know that you enjoy putting in effort to improve your life, and that's why you're on this channel, and that's something I really respect you for. So keep it up. As always, be a doer, not a thinker, and I'll see you in the next one.